Tycoon has a lot of vehicles, therefore I don't really blame you if you have a hard time deciding what is the best vehicle in every category. Well, in today's video guys, I will be doing just that, and if the best vehicle in its category actually ends up being a paid vehicle, I will also be providing a free-to-play alternative option. Now firstly, starting off with the planes, I will be picking the F-35I, and I know a lot of you guys might think that this is a hot take since everyone kind of believes that the F-35B is universally the best plane in the game. However, you have to kind of dig a little bit deeper if you want to discover the best plane, and the reason why I can say that the F-35I is currently the overall best is simply because, for one, this vehicle is more cost efficient, it is a slightly better dogfighter due to the fact that electronic warfare is just much better when it comes to dogfighting. Both of these vehicles actually have exactly the same turning speed, however I do believe the electronic warfare to be a more effective countermeasure than flares themselves. Now the next thing which the F-35I actually provides for you is going to be the cruise missiles, and a lot of people might say that the normal lock-on missiles might be better than the cruise. However, I believe that's not actually going to be the case, and the simple reason why is because when it comes to ground attacks, I believe the cruise missiles are always going to be better, simply because you don't have to lock on and risking going too low, which would end up actually getting you killed. Because the cruise missiles are just fire and forgets. You could fire them and they'll find their target eventually, where with the lock-on missiles you kinda also gotta lead them like rockets if you're not willing to lock on. Most of the time whenever you're, for example, trying to play against ships, you will end up leading your rockets at the ship instead of actually trying to lock onto it. Like, it's just not a viable strategy to do that. Therefore, what I prefer to use a lot of the cases is going to be the cruise missiles for this. Like right here, I can lock, but like I'm probably even gonna get myself killed. Okay, this guy just doesn't know what he's doing. That's crazy. But like, if he did know what he was doing, then I would have basically been dead in this scenario. So yeah, in general, the F-35 kinda just provides an almost equal level of versatility to the F-35B, however it provides it to you for a much cheaper cost and it has some better aspects than that vehicle itself. And now the best free-to-play plane, in my opinion right now, is going to be the Su-57 Felon. This one is pretty self-explanatory, 6 multi-role missiles, same turning as the F-22, it's got good health, good speed, it's basically got everything along with a cost efficiency of 9. Just take a look at this compared to the F-22. This one costs 9, the F-22 costs 10, even though the other one is multi-role. Make it make sense when it comes to the part costs. Now next up, moving into the Mi-24 Super Hind, which I picked to be the absolute best helicopter in the game. I was very 50-50 on going between the Super Hind and the Longbow, and the Super Hind does have a lot of issues. However, at the end of the day, it does end up being the more versatile option, which can just perform much more tasks. The Super Hind only costs you 10 parts compared to the Longbow. Along with this, it has 6 powerful multi-role missiles. However, if you do end up actually hitting these missiles, then you're gonna be able to do some insane damage. Like right here, this little bird. Let's see how many missiles it's gonna take to kill it. Like, yeah, there we go. 3 was more than enough. I did fire 4 there, however, either way I would probably be able to kill him with 3. Like, overall, this vehicle has the ability to kill a lot of vehicles in this game. With 8 of its missiles, it has 10 rockets, which can absolutely annihilate any tank on the ground if they're standing still. And you also have the bombs, which are bunker busters. And funny enough, the Mi-24 Super Hind also has some pretty good maneuverability for such a massive helicopter. It is crazy to me how well this thing is able to turn and be agile in general. And now, undoubtedly, probably the best free-to-play helicopter is definitely going to be the standard Mi-24 Hind. Jesus, after all of the buffs, they have made this thing as absolute powerhouse. Like, it is able to delete literally any vehicle with one correct lead. I love using this thing when it comes to countering ships. Like, its DPS against ships specifically, it's absolutely insane. However, along with this, they have also buffed its missiles pretty heavily, because now they're able to actually do some really good damage. Like right here, I was able to kill this drone within 4 of its missiles. But you're mainly going to be using this thing when it comes to its cannon. That is going to be the main special feature about it. It is going to be what's going to be doing the most DPS for you. However, the only issue what you see with the Hind right now is that the bullets are kind of like far apart, and they do kind of start to like go down over time. Like there is bullet fall off on this thing. However, if when it comes to like plane combat, heli combat, and any type of combat in this game, this thing is able to provide some insane levels of DPS. Now next up, moving into the best ground vehicles, and undoubtedly the Striker M Shard is obviously going to be the absolute best that Tycoon has to offer. For one, this vehicle kind of just provides you with a bit of everything. You got air lock-on missiles, you got guided missiles, so you can kind of fight vehicles at any type of range. So for one, you are able to actually lock on for walls with the guided missiles, which give you a huge tactical advantage against tanks because it means you can literally jump them without them knowing about what even is going on. The air lock-on missiles are really good against killing helicopters, if they're not really that good against planes, since the flare count in this game for a lot of vehicles is kinda high. However, this feature right here is probably going to be its main power, because if you manage to just get close to the enemy, and there we go, just hit them with 2 missiles, a lot of the time they're just gonna end up being dead as well. However, not only with this vehicle also has a really powerful cannon, its health is pretty decent for a ground vehicle, and it also does have some insane levels of speed, and all of that is being given to you for 8 parts. I believe this vehicle to be extremely cost efficient, and sometimes it is better to pick it over tanks. However, the best free-to-play ground vehicle is definitely gonna have to be the Striker MGS. After the recent buffs, they made this thing absolutely busted because for one, it can aim all the way up. It has the fastest bullet velocity in the game out of really any ground vehicle. It's really good at fighting tanks, like right here. I believe it's going to be taking me only 2 shots to actually kill this Bradley. Okay, so I got 1 shot, and the way you kind of want to play this vehicle is just hit and run. Like right here, I'm able to reload. And it's over. Yeah, you kind of just want to run away from the opponent after hitting a single cannon, and that way you could be able to defeat literally every single tank in the game. The amount of buffs that they give towards this thing is insane. Its cost efficiency is also pretty great. You're only paying 7 parts for this thing. I believe when it was released it wasn't as great, however now after all of the buffs, this thing is truly worth it. Now next up, moving into the absolute best tank in the game. This is such an obvious choice, but we have the BMPT Terminator. Oh my god, this thing is absolutely busted. It is able to delete literally anything with its guided missiles and cannon in 1 second. As you guys seen here, the laser APC does actually have some really good health, however I was able to shred it no matter what. This thing has an insane cannon when it comes to fire rate. It has decent health, it has the fastest speed out of literally any tank in the game. Its guided missiles are also really fast, allowing it to be extremely good against planes. Like, there's nothing that this vehicle doesn't have. I believe the only one flaw which this vehicle has, to be honest, is its slightly lower health, but that doesn't even matter in a lot of the cases. You can just kill the opponent before the fight even starts. Now moving into the boats, and this one is really interesting because there isn't really the best boat, because the USS Independence X and the USS Zumwalt cancel each other out so perfectly to the point that they're just equal vehicles. Because for example, the Independence X is kind of the higher skill ceiling vehicle that you would be using, however it provides better versatility than the Zumwalt, which means that it can have better damage output, however it also becomes a little more unreliable. However, the USS Zumwalt itself, it's like a DPS powerhouse with lots of lock-on missiles, however its overall damage potential and strategy potential is much lower than the Independence X. It really depends on which vehicle you prefer. Personally, I would go with the Independence X as the best ship in the game just because I know what I'm doing, but I know not as many players in this game actually understand all of the mechanics of the ship. However, when it comes to the best free-to-play ship, this is a very easy choice. The USS Independence, the standard variant, has you covered. I believe the USS Independence to just be a good all-rounder. It's actually very similar to the Zumwalt in a lot of ways. However, I do believe it to be the overall slightly better anti-air, simply because for one, its cannon can be more reliable against anti-air, and it also has the serum. It just has kinda everything that you need out of a ship, and it gets the job done extraordinarily well. And now moving into the submarines, there really isn't too much explanations to do. The Typhoon class is obviously going to be the best one, since it's literally just an upgrade of the Bore when it comes to how many missiles it has, and it just has slightly better health. However, it costs you 13 parts. And obviously the second best vehicle in the game when it comes to the submarines is going to be the Bore, which only costs you 9 parts. This thing, funny enough, is extremely cost efficient. It is by far the best free-to-play submarine that you could be using right now. The submarines really don't have too much to them. There just isn't enough subs in the game for me to be able to really go over details to why my choices are being made here. The Los Angeles and the Losas are clearly outclassed. And then the hovercrafts are also kinda just in the same boat. Obviously the HACV Overlord is the best hovercraft, and the AVH Reaper is going to be the best free-to-play hovercraft. But anyway, for the time being, that's basically all I have for you guys in today's video. Do let me know in the comment section down below what in your opinion is the best vehicle in every single category. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and do let me know what other videos I should do that are similar to this.